Now, look at this. This is a debate or argument between Yedman, Ligona, and the other Arsenal fan, between Arsene Wenger and Mikel Arteta, who signed better players. Look at this first.
Are we making better signings than we were under Wenger? Yes or
No.
Yes,
No,
100%.
No.
So out of Mikel Arteta team right now, you name me one of his players them that we can say is the best Arsenal ever have.
Yeah, that's tough. Very tough.
Tough.
That
There's
simply
some.
means he doesn't sign better player than Wenger.
But to be factual and unbiased in this, there are three things you need to consider before you make this conclusion. Number one is the number of years Arsene Wenger stayed in Arsenal and number of years Mikel Arteta have stayed. Arsene Wenger stayed about 20 years in Arsenal. Mikel Arteta have only stayed about 5 years, going to his sixth year in Arsenal. Then also the number of quality players or good players they signed. Then also the number of bad players, the number of flops they signed. Now, let's talk about Arsene Wenger's best signing. Of course, he signed Thierry Henry, the best player in the Premier League, no argument. Of course, he signed Sol Campbell, but you can't say Sol Campbell is a wonderful defender, but you can't say he is on top 5 best defenders in the Premier League. No, you can't argue that. Of course, he signed Patrick Vieira, arguably one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League. He signed Cesc Fabregas, arguably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. He signed Adebayo, he's a fantastic player. He signed Robin Van Persie, a wonderful striker. He also signed Alexis Sanchez, fantastic. He also signed Mesut Ozil, an incredible midfielder. He also signed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's a wonderful player. These are some notable and good signing of Arsene Wenger. Now, let's talk about the funny signing, the ridiculous signing. These people now, we are total flop in Arsenal. Let's start with Scolassi, the French Scolassi. This guy was as bad as even Bebe of Manchester. You know how bad Bebe was. Even Bebe of Manchester United could toy around him. Let's talk about Giroud. He was among the team that Manchester United beat 8-2. So he was a terrible defender. Let's talk about Jackinson, a terrible defender. Let's talk about Yaya Sonogo. He was a rubbish striker. Let's talk about Maurian Chamak. Chamak was not good. He's not even close to being good. Let's talk about Francisco Klein. This was the guy he took instead of N'Golo Kante. Francisco Klein, in his first season, when he came back from Charlton, from loan, he was a bit fair, but in the second season, he was a disaster, destroyed by Eden Hazard. Let's talk about the Ghanaian Frimpong. Frimpong, there is nothing to talk about Frimpong. He was a bad player. Now, you can see that even in Arsene Wenger, as good as Arsene Wenger, he made some signings that were ridiculous. I will say that towards the beginning of Arsene Wenger's career in Arsenal, he did some excellent signings, despite there were still bad signings there. But towards the ending of his career, I think he was a disaster when it comes to signings. Now, also, let's talk about Mikel Arteta's best signing in the Premier League. Let's talk about Thomas Partey. Let's talk about Declan Rice. You know how good Declan Rice is. Let's talk about Julian Timber, a fantastic defender. Let's talk about Gabriel and Saliba, one of the best pair Arsenal have seen. They are one of the best pair Arsenal have seen. Forget about that they have not won the major trophy, but they are one of the best pair Arsenal have seen. Martin Odegaard and David Raya. Now let's talk about the players that Mikel Arteta signed that are flops. Fabio Vieira is a flop. Of course, he's a flop. He's currently on loan. He's a flop. Marquinhos Horse, under the guidance of Mikel Arteta, but it was Edu that signed him. He's a flop. Takehiro Tomiyasu, of course, Takehiro Tomiyasu is also a flop. He didn't play well because of injury and other things. So apart from these three players, I don't think there's any other flop. If I am forgetting, just remind me on the comment section. When you look at it, before you will design who signed better players, I think these three things are to be considered. The number of good players they signed, the number of bad signing, and their longevity in Arsenal. So now, with all these things I mentioned, let us know what you think on the comment section. Who do you think signed better players? But when you are saying this, you have to consider the number of years they have stayed, the number of good players they have signed, and the number of bad players they have signed. Towards the beginning of Arsene Wenger's career, he did exceptional signing. But towards the ending of his career, he also had some few good signings. Most of his signings towards the ending of his career are bad signing. And when you look at his bad signing, it was done under the ownership of Stan Kroenke. So just let us know what you think about this on the comment section.